So that means it is time right now for the only sports podcast power rankings. And the theme today, Casino, is Arizona. Arizona. I
I do
went
like
to
Arizona.
I went to Arizona with the family this weekend, and Arizona is beautiful. They have really
I
good
love
nature.
desert. I
Yeah.
think desert scenery is gorgeous.
Well, then you're going to love today's theme, which is basically the Arizona desert. So, up first, Casino, on your power ranking, your top 10. Let's see. Let's start it. We start in the desert with your number 10 pick.
Yeah. Seahawks. This was a tough one because there's I wasn't going to pull a U and put 5 teams in the one
Oh, then you're
spot.
going to hate my power rankings.
I already know. I already know.
Hate it.
So I went more traditional. I like the Seahawks. I mean, Geno Smith, good or bad, who knows? It's week to week basis. But right now,
Yeah.
that was a good win. They needed that win. They showed up when they needed to on the road. That puts them ahead for me. So that's where I'm leaving.
Also, the guy who says we need to play more clips, what do you think of this? This is a clip of a desert. What more do you want from us? But next up,
you know what this reminds me of, right? Looking at this, is all right, pick the squares only with the cactus in it.
Oh yeah, where you have to do the. That's a good call. Now, however, Casino, my top 10, I still have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And they were at 10 last week. They're at 10 this week because their win was impressive. But again, it was against the team that right now currently has the number 1 pick in the NFL draft and has 2 wins. I know you love that picture, Baker Mayfield.
Love that picture. But you know what else? Now I'm looking at him all right, pick all the squares that has the sun in it. Just so obscure.
But also this was a weird game. Aiden O'Connell gets knocked out of the game on a phantom injury where he just does a normal football trip, I guess, and messes his leg up. He's out for the season. Ritter steps in. Baker Mayfield didn't have the best game, but he still threw 3 touchdowns. So
they fight. They're gritty.
Yeah, Buccaneers, I still think, especially with what the Falcons have been doing the past month, they still win the division at probably 9 wins. 9 and 8. 9 and
8.
Yeah. Next up, Casino, your number 9 pick is the Los Angeles, I almost said San Diego, Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah, because again, they look like a really good team. They did just lose to the Chiefs barely. So they were in my power rankings last week. They're still in my power rankings. They played a good game on the road in Kansas City, almost took them out. I like this team. And Justin Herbert was getting just rocked. He was taking so many injuries. He had to come off the field.
That
he had
one
to be helped
that
off.
Took him out of the game for a second.
Yeah.
That was nasty.
So I got to give him at so much credit. And I do like this team. But yet the Chiefs are just better. It is what it is, especially on the road.
And shockingly, my number 9 is your number 9 and 10. Because I'm putting both the Seahawks and Chargers at number 9. And we're trying to roll through this. So I don't really have anything else to add. The Seahawks are most likely going to come out of the NFC West, even though I think the Rams are a better team. The Seahawks don't think they lose enough games where the Rams can catch them.
That's fair.
Or no, I'm sorry. I don't have the Chargers. I have the Rams here. So that's why I'm putting both them. That's why I'm putting them both at 9 and 10, or at 9.
See, this is why I don't do this, because now you can't even get your shit together here.
They're both at 9 because I think right now in the NFC West, the Seahawks have one more win. The Rams coming off a big victory against the Bills. I don't think the Rams can catch the Seahawks, but I think they're a better team than the Seahawks. But again, you can't have the Seahawks not on this list and the Rams on this list when the Seahawks are leading the division with one more win. So that's why, that's why they're number 9 for me. For number 8 for you, Casino, is let me scroll to it. The Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, again, good, but show me something more, man. That defense has just got to figure it out, but that offense is just too fucking good. Just too good. It's so frustrating. And I know they were just on their bye. So I'm just going to leave them right there. Just call it what it is. Please come out of the bye kicking ass. You know, hopefully you traded your entire defense and you got something new in there. But I'm just gonna leave him there. Just gonna leave him there.
Yeah.
Lamar
Hopefully we
Jackson.
see.
Lamar Jackson is too good, and he's playing so good right now. Same with Henry. That I have trouble putting this team anywhere else. Even with 5 losses, man. Like
Yeah.
I struggle taking this team out of my top 10. I truly do.
It's legitimately going to be insane if by the time Burrow, Allen, and Lamar Jackson all retire, none of them have Super Bowls to their name. That's legitimately going to be insane if that just never happens. And it's kind of if
It's going to happen.
the Bills and Ravens keep having the playoff luck they do, that will happen. And then obviously Joe Burrow, got there 1 year and then it's been a dumpster fire in Cincinnati basically since then.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, and you can add Goff to that too.
oh, that's true. All right. Next up, Casino. I have 2 more teams because I put both AFC West teams. And again, I had the Broncos.
And it's so funny, like all these teams that you're putting right here, like that's where I was like, making my 10 is so hard. Like putting whoever I want to put on the 10 spot is so hard. So you just put them all together.
Yeah. And let me move us out of the way. So I just put both AFC West teams that aren't the Chiefs because Broncos run a bye. So they shouldn't move down. They obviously can't move up. Chargers, they fall back a little bit because obviously they lost to the Chiefs. But again, they looked almost identical to the Chiefs that are a 1-loss team on this season. So how would you go toe to toe with the defending Super Bowl champion? In one game against them, you have a 10-point lead. In another game, you almost win, except the thing doinks and goes in instead of out. So you went toe to toe with the best team in the league both times you played them. And both times against them, you were as physical as them. Your quarterback looked as good as Mahomes. I just don't think there's any rationale where you can look at the Chargers and be like, they're not one of the 10 best teams in the league, especially coming off, again, a week where they went toe to toe with the defending Super Bowl champs. Next up, Casino, your number 7, the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, they look feisty, man. That defense is just top notch. It's just outstanding. I like them a lot. That young team is so feisty. And they went toe to toe with, the team that's at the top of the fucking list right now. So what they did against Detroit in Detroit was just outstanding. They pushed them to their limit. They had to win that game by completing 4 of 5. I think it was 4 of 5 fourth down conversions. Like it's just outstanding play by the Green Bay Packers, and they rightfully deserve to be in the mix of it.
And we'll talk about the Packers in a bit, but on my list. But right now, Casino, my number, this is 6. My number 6 is, 10, 9, 8, 7. Yeah, this is 6. Mm-hmm. My number 6, Casino. No, wait, 10, 9, 8. This is my 7. Whatever. My number 7.
This is again what happens when you put too many teams together.
No, this is just the grid is messing me up. My number 7. Oh no. Well, there you go. My number 7 and number 6 is I have Stavros as obviously the most famous Ravens fan I know. He is my number 10, 9, 8, 7 team. And then my 6th team is the Green Bay Packers. So when you talk, much like you did, just about the Packers and then the Ravens, obviously the Ravens are on there, much like the Broncos, because they're on a bye. We've talked about the issues with the Ravens enough. So we'll skip over the Ravens. With the Packers,
but I thought this was week to week. How are they even on your power rankings?
Well, they didn't move up or down. I don't think. I think this is where I had them last time. Maybe
moving on.
Yeah, but you'll see my week to week, Casino. My week to week is also Packers moved way up in my rankings because again, I really liked how they looked against the Lions. I think they're a good team. I think Jordan Love again is pretty hot or cold, but when he's hot, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I think again, my issue with the Packers, which people give me shit for in our comments, but keeps ringing true week after week. Tell me the game the Packers have where they won against a winning team that was impressive to you. The only impressive win on their record is against the Texans. Week after week, we talk about how the Texans are shams of what they were last season and are only going to be in the playoffs because of the division they play in. So with the Packers, give me one win either in your division or outside of your division against a winning team. Because last time I checked, they only let winning teams into the playoffs. So right now, if you're picking the Packers against any team going into the playoffs right now, who are you having them win against? It's got to be either an NFC West or an NFC South team. And again, if they're playing the Buccaneers, if they're playing the Seahawks or the Rams, I think the Seahawks, Rams, and Buccaneers have a legitimate shot to upset the Packers just from what we've seen this season.
Yes, my son is waking up, so now we got to really roll through the power rankings.
Yeah. So now, Casino, your number 6 pick is the Pittsburgh Steelers.
No, we'll do my 6 and 5. And Pittsburgh Steelers, there we go. What a bounce back game. Russell Wilson looked good. I told you they were going to take care of business. And they did. I like them. They're a hard-hitting team. I like their coach through and through. They deserve to be where they're at.
Yeah. Your number 5 pick, Casino, is the Kansas City Chiefs.
I'm putting them there. And I'm putting them there, and they could be 4. The reason I'm putting them there is because they are still only winning these games by the skin of their teeth, by luck, by balls bouncing in off the crossbars, by a linebacker falling over. Like, they're barely winning these games, and it's not because what they are doing. It's by just some random last second things that are happening. Like, that's why I'm struggling moving this team up, even with them only having one loss. It is so tough for me to move them forward.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, oh, they only have one loss. They're still winning their games, and I say it all the time. Good teams find a way to win, but the eye test just tells me that they're not there.
Yeah.
It's just so hard for me to, and you can make a case to put them at 4 for me, I can make a case of putting them at 4, but I'll get to that in a second. So go for it.
My number 5 right now, as we just mentioned, the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think, again, we knew they would get revenge against the Browns. They did get revenge. Jameis Winston had a classic Jameis Winston game, throwing as many touchdowns as he did interceptions. I think legitimately you can make the case that the Steelers might be the best team in the AFC, especially they're the best team in the AFC nobody's talking about, because all the focus is on the Ravens, on the Chiefs, on the Bills, and the Steelers are kind of quietly over here playing great defense. Their offense has just got, kicked into 5th gear with Russell Wilson coming back, and just this resurgence of Russell Wilson as just a great quarterback. So, and especially when you look at, guys similar in age to Russell Wilson, you look at how Kirk Cousins, you look at how Aaron Rodgers is struggling, and then, silently over in the corner is Russell Wilson just putting on a show. So I think the Steelers, again, just quietly keep moving up my rankings because I think they're a legitimately really good team. My number 4, Casino, I'm putting the Buffalo Bills. And that is 2 fans crashing through a table, classic Buffalo Bills game. And again, the Bills had basically their own destiny in their hands, which was just beat. Again, the Rams weren't the game that everybody was like, oh, what's the Bills going to look like? It was the game against the Lions. The Bills-Lions, as we just talked about earlier in the game, was supposed to be the game where it was like, this decides the number 1 seed in either the NFC or the AFC. And yeah, they just, we'll talk about the Bills in a second, Casino, because your next pick is, after the Chiefs, is the Buffalo Bills. So,
yep. And I could have pushed them back one more and put the Chiefs ahead of them. But I feel like with Josh Allen, they always have a shot. They will
Yeah.
always have a shot. And with what he's doing and the records that he's like making, the things that nobody's ever done in NFL history in the quarterback position, it's hard not to root for him. I mean, they had to fly all the way from Buffalo to LA for that game. Um, the Rams always play teams hard. Like it's just what it is. Puka Nacua again, I think might be the best receiver in the league right now. He's just making catches and doing things that people are just like in awe about. Like that toe grab that he had on the sideline, just insane. So you can flip flop these two, and I'd be fine with it. But I'm gonna put the Bills there because I think as a whole, as a team, I like their grit and their play better, and
Yeah.
I like them better than Kansas City.
Well, I think coming out of this week, I think there's no question marks with Josh Allen. Even in his best playoff performances where they've lost, I'm thinking of the Kansas City, last second, 20-second game. He still played a great game in that game. We've seen great games from him in the playoffs where his team still loses. And usually that's due to defense,
Yeah,
which again, after this week, is the question mark with this team.
yeah.
But as far as Josh Allen, right
He's
now,
fine.
undisputed the best quarterback in the
I
league.
heard Colin saying, I was listening to Colin that he is in games that he throws for that many yards. He is 4 and 5 in 11 games that he's thrown that for that many yards. Like it is just it's
Yeah,
mind
he gets in
blowing.
shootouts. Yeah, he gets in shootouts and mostly loses, even again after this week where he had
Yeah.
basically a perfect game.
So moving
Your
on,
number three, Casino, is also my number three, so we can just go these back to back, and that is the Minnesota Vikings.
dude, they look good. They just look good. The chemistry that Sam Darnold has with those two players, with Addison, with Jefferson, is just insane. It's so good. They are on the same page. It's basically having Tua, Tyreek. It is having Burrow and Chase. Like it's
Yeah.
that kind of connection that he has with these two players, and it's phenomenal to watch.
What regardless of what happens with during the playoffs, because again, with the Vikings, they if you put them on the power rankings to win the Super Bowl, I think on most people's list, they're behind the Lions, they're behind the Chiefs, they're behind the Bills, they're behind the Eagles, but again, they're behind the Steelers, I would say, probably, but or right there with the Steelers. And yet, all they do every week is Sam Darnold comes out, does 5 touchdown performances, 4 touchdown performances, and he's not managing the games. He's going out there and legitimately winning the games for the Minnesota Vikings, which before the season was we just need him not to lose us games. And instead, that flipped the script. And now he's again one of the best quarterbacks in the NFC, in the AFC, and the NFL right now. And I've liked this Vikings team since the beginning, and he was the one question mark. Well, there's no longer a question. The
There's
question
just
now
exclamation
becomes,
points.
yeah, the question now becomes, what do they do in the offseason, regardless of what happens in the playoffs?
If
Because
you got to
this is a
keep
guy
him.
you got to resign.
That you have to sign again. I just said it. That connection that he has with those two receivers,
Yeah.
you keep it. You keep it. That's something special that you know people try to get. You see Devontae Adams going to Aaron Rodgers because he likes playing with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
There's a connection there,
That's a good point.
you
Yeah.
know. So whatever they're doing over there, whatever those three pretty much are doing in practices, keep it up, man.
Yeah. And so that is
Bluetooth,
my
whatever they're doing on the field, I don't know.
that is my 10-3. Here is Casino's 10-3 right here. And now it comes to our number 2 casino, which your number 2 is, I mean, we're going through the Arizona desert. So the best way is with an eagle flying because he's flying high
Yep.
above. This is your number 2.
Yep. And I think this week really justifies why they should be at 2 and not 1 for me. Is they struggled against the Panthers, who are only a 3-win team, but they still won. Barkley still put up numbers. There was still no turnovers by Jalen Hurts. All these things that we have worries about the Eagles, they didn't do, but the Panthers just played a really good game and kept it close. And they were, again, one drive away from losing that game, and they were able to stop it. So I have them at 2. Rightfully so. They're great. They're a great team. I would not want to play them if I was any other team in the league. That's where I'm leaving it. Because
they're also my number 2 Casino, because again, I am fair. I am justified in.
I finally got to them, folks.
Yeah, but oh no, what is happening? What is happening? Oh no, it's the Eagles and Chiefs at number 2 Casino. I have them both at number 2. The Eagles flying through the air of the beautiful Arizona sky, but he's being attacked by, again, the Chiefs are the devil. So our representation of the devil is her who shall not be named. And she is making an appearance at number 2. I have the Eagles and Chiefs. I'm telling you, there is something in my gut that says this is the Super Bowl this year. It happened last year where everybody was like, the only Super Bowl matchup we don't want is one we've seen before, and that happened. This year, all the hype is behind Lions Bills, it's a Super Bowl preview. Maybe the Ravens get in there. Maybe the Vikings get in there. It is going to be a rematch between the Eagles and Chiefs. I can see it happening. I've seen it in a dream. It's happening, Casino. Now, the only difference is I think the Eagles win against this Chiefs team.
Again, but, I totally agree.
And again, we can only disregard the Chiefs for so long before we say, yes, they keep winning these close games, but every close game they have, they win and they're 11-1. We can only for so long be like, that's not happening. That's not happening. And then it happens. And yeah, they're 11-1.
Again, you could have put them at 4 for me, but it's just, fuck, man.
I know. And then obviously our number 1 with the Arizona flag. Both our number 1s are the Detroit Lions because, again, they played the toughest opponent of the 3-4 teams that are in here, and they won. So by the fairness of the power rankings for heading into week 15, the Lions have to be number 1. That was a great
to me is so,
Packers.
Watching it and the coaching, yes, we know Dan Campbell's an aggressive coach and he's going to go for those kind of things, but
most of the time it works. That's why he goes for it.
The execution on those, he was 4 for 5. And the one people were knocking and like, oh, well, he tried it on their own 30-yard line and then it cost him a score. Yeah, well, guess what? He did it twice on the 1-yard line and he got both of those touchdowns. So you're a touchdown up on that. Like, go fuck yourself.
And again, the pass rush isn't there, but the pass coverage is. So when they get more guys off the IR, when it shores up the defensive line, when they're able to get pressure on the quarterback, they already have the back half of the defense.
That's the thing. My coworker who's a Bears fan, he was talking about it, and he just exactly what you're saying. You're hitting it with the T. Like, they're doing this with a depleted defense. Yeah. Like, we have a Packers fan regular that always comes in and he was like, yeah, my team, they went toe to toe with the Lions on the road. That makes me really happy. It makes me feel good about my team. And immediately my buddy, obviously being a Bears fan, he wants to talk shit about a Packers fan. He goes, yeah, they did that to the Lions that have no defense players.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
So,
which was the entire point I made last week, which is just like, even when Jordan Love had what felt like unlimited time in the pocket, it's not like he was picking apart the Detroit defense. He wasn't. And again, that was credit to the Lions. But there you have it. That is the Only Sports Podcast Power Rankings for Week 15 Casino.
Yeah.
I had so many doubles, and I think I'm just going to keep doing that because I know it annoys you.
Yeah, it annoys everybody. Please comment and just tell them how bad that is. You can't call it a top 10. It's the worst.
I mean, technically mine was a top 13 this week.